Hi everyone, it's Shannon with Play with the World, and today's message is so important because a lot of us relate to this, because the truth is there's really two types of people in this world, according to my friend Rhonda Britton: those who blame themselves for everything and those who blame the world for their problems and situations. So today I want you to think about if you're blaming and where your blame is going, because the majority of us, and a lot of the people that I know and work with, we put so much pressure on ourselves, and this becomes an enormous amount of self-blame, self-sabotage, and guilt. So today's message is going to help you release self-blame and how you can stop blaming yourself for everything, because we already know that if you're blaming yourself, then you're probably not feeling good, you probably don't have what you want, and you probably are really beating yourself up mentally, and it's just not a healthy way for you. So today we're going to eliminate self-blame, and I have 3 ways that we can do that. So ask yourself if you're shoulding all over yourself. One of the very first steps is to turn your shoulds into coulds. So many of us, we say, I should do this, I should work out, I should have got more done today, I should be farther along, I should, and should becomes this expression in our head, and it piles on with guilt, and it really takes us out of really taking action. And one of the most important ways that you can overcome this is to actually turn your shoulds into coulds. And so by going to a place of I could do this, or I could work out, I could call this person back, you actually give yourself permission to feel more empowered. And so you're more expansive and you feel like you really have more control. And so what happens when you say could, there's an energetic expression to the tone in the word, whereas should really is resulting in blame and guilt, whereas could is really more of a positive way forward. So I say this a lot, and I really want you to try it out. So think about where you're shoulding, what you're saying I should do, and each time for the next week that you say the word should, turn it to could and see what happens for you. See how things change. This is a very powerful tool to really eliminate that guilt, because the reality is the self-guilt is inflicted on us, and we do these things that really keep us in this place of feeling blame. But what we want is to overcome this. And that first step of turning shoulds into coulds can really help do that in a really profound way. Now I want to talk about the second one. The second tool for you today is to study the blessing in the lesson. So here's the thing. Everything we go through in life is really an opportunity for us to learn and grow. It's a lesson opportunity. So that experience that you perhaps are looking at as a setback, perhaps it really has a lesson for you to learn and grow from. And so when things come at you, life experiences that perhaps don't seem something that you really enjoy, or it's not what you expected, can you ask yourself, what is the blessing and the lesson here? So first, it's really kind of good to look at what am I learning, or what can I learn, or why did this happen? There's a bigger picture at play always. And so turn to that. And then, farther down the road, the blessing becomes really clear, because perhaps you realize that this wasn't an opportunity you really wanted. This happened to me many times as I was coming out of depression. I was still kind of taking jobs in corporate, even though I knew in my heart of hearts I didn't want to take those jobs. This was several years ago. But I would apply for them out of comfort and safety, and I would blame myself when I didn't get the jobs. And then lo and behold, a couple months later, I heard a friend who had accepted that job, and it was this horrible experience. It was just a really unhealthy work environment, and he would explain that it was just not working for him. And I realized that there was such a blessing. I thought it was a setback not getting a job, but what I realize, of course, now is that it opened up more time for me to contribute to my business of life coaching, of writing books, of sharing these messages of hope and happiness with you. And so that was really a blessing in the lesson. So if there's a setback in your life or something you're feeling stuck in and it's just not working for you, please consider that there's a bigger opportunity for you to learn something and recognize that you are being protected. The universe has a plan that is greater than you can ever imagine, and say, okay, I'm being protected. There is a blessing here. I'm willing to accept this blessing. And so the very third step to really release self-blame, and perhaps the most difficult step at all, and what I do and share with you today, is to trust yourself. Trusting yourself is the third step, and it's very empowering for you, because a lot of the times we go to self-blame past mistakes, things that didn't work out, things that perhaps we are regretting or we wish would have played out a different way. And when this experience happens, we almost always think about how we did something we didn't want to do, or we did something that perhaps just didn't jive with us. So think about a situation that perhaps you're blaming yourself just a lot for. Perhaps it's a divorce, maybe it's a situation with work. There's so many opportunities in our life for us to instead turn to self-blame. We can put these steps into play, but when you trust yourself, you feel empowered. When you trust yourself and your choices and you make good judgments because you know you're aligned with your heart, you can really feel more grounded in your decisions and in your life. And therefore, the experience of feeling like this situation that might seem like a setback or what you're blaming yourself for is really a cover-up a lot of times. And so what you want to do, it's a cover-up for you kind of not having to trust yourself. So instead, to fix this problem, all you have to do is really go inward and say, what is it I really want? How can I get that? And does this align with my truth? Three simple questions that you can ask. So ask, does this align with my truth? And that's how you start to trust yourself more. A lot of people say, well, how do I trust myself? I'll do a whole video message on that. But to give you a little insight, ask yourself, does this feel right for me? And if it feels right, it will feel expansive and joyful. If it doesn't, then it will feel very restricting and you're going into fear. So we don't want that. We want you to trust yourself, and we want you to really take off the self-blame, because guess what? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I really want to give you permission to be you and really enjoy who you are. And in your life, I want you to take on this mantra for the rest of the week as you are right where you need to be. All is in right order. Enjoy that and have a good time playing with the world. Bye, guys.